Yo, what is up, guys? Draco Sean here, back with another video. So yeah, this is the next chapter, 1062. Pretty good chapter, I would say. 9 out of 10, I would say. Nothing inherently bad with the chapter. I think there was only like playful scenes, like filler scenes where Luffy's like the hamburg scene, whatever, like all that stuff. That's just playful scenes. That's not a big deal. But regardless, I wanted to get into the chapter because there's a lot to talk about. So I think the first thing to talk about is the cover story, which that threw me for a complete 180. So I read the chapter, right? I read it, I was fine, and then I go back and see what other people thought about the chapter, and people are mentioning AOKIJI, and I was very confused. I was like, where is AOKIJI coming from? So I looked, I was like, I must be missing something. So then I went to the cover story, and I'm like, oh yeah, there. Because I saw the cover story and I just saw people just not moving, and I was like, and this is also interesting because this was in Chocolat Town. So the theory is that AOKIJI, because remember AOKIJI is with the Blackbeard pirates, and AOKIJI has come to Whole Cake Island to take Pudding and the Road Poneglyph. That is what I think is happening here, which is insane because we were saying this before. There might be other intruders. People have been saying that the Blackbeard pirates are gonna come to Whole Cake Island, and maybe Blackbeard sent AOKIJI to do this. This would make sense because we know that from Dressrosa, Blackbeard does not trust AOKIJI. That is super important, and I think this is one way for AOKIJI to earn Blackbeard's trust, to get a Load Poneglyph and get Pudding. So that's very important. But this is interesting though, and I wonder if we're gonna get AOKIJI versus Katakuri because, well, we know Katakuri's there, but Germa's there as well. So it's all a bit of a mess at this point, but it's really interesting because now we know that, I mean, it's not confirmed it's AOKIJI, but we saw the places like people were frozen, I think. It looked like the town was on ice. I mean, for a minute, I thought it was Perispero's Candy, but Perispero can't be there because he must be still on a ship with the Big Mom Pirates. So it must be AOKIJI. And this makes sense as well because Big Mom isn't there. We know Big Mom isn't there, obviously. So that we know. And we know the only person strong enough to take on an admiral is Katakuri. So it makes sense that it would be, and Cracker maybe. I mean, if you put two commanders together, I think AOKIJI would have to run, honestly, because I don't think AOKIJI could take on Katakuri and Cracker. Maybe he could actually, but I don't know. But yeah, that is really interesting. I don't know what's gonna happen with that. So I guess because Oda does need to bring into this whole concept of the three-eye tribe because they are very important as well. We know this. So Pudding, we know, is very important. So AOKIJI getting Pudding and getting the Road Poneglyph is definitely a possibility. And I think it's a way for AOKIJI to earn Blackbeard's trust. Obviously, because we know for a fact AOKIJI is a member of Sword. It's not confirmed, but there is no way AOKIJI is working with Blackbeard of his own accord. There's no way. Just based on what Drake was doing with Kaido, it makes sense AOKIJI doing it with Blackbeard. So there you go. But yeah, this is interesting. And we'll see what AOKIJI does. But I'm 100% sure we are going to see AOKIJI. Well, maybe in the next cover story, we'll see AOKIJI grabbing Pudding and a rubbing of the Road Poneglyph and leaving with his little... Because remember, he rides on that, I think, penguin, isn't it? Or his bicycle, whatever he does. And he's probably going to head back to Featherhead Island, I think. So, yeah, I think right now, AOKIJI's one to keep an eye on, definitely. And then we go into the BONNEY stuff. I want to talk about BONNEY. I want to get to VEGAPUNK later, but BONNEY. So this is confirmed now. BONNEY has some sort of relation to Kuma. We've been saying this, but we don't know what it was. Now we know BONNEY is Kuma's child. Now we don't know if it's actually biological or adopted, but I would say I'm going to say biological for now. But this is interesting. And I like that. This is interesting because also we found out that BONNEY's been to this island before as a kid. So my guess is that VEGAPUNK has been with Kuma they've known each other for a while, because obviously BONNEY would only have privileges to go onto this island if she was the daughter of Kuma. So I'm guessing that Kuma, and we also know that in the past Kuma and Dragon had a friendly relationship. So this could easily tie into Dr. VEGAPUNK being a revolutionary. 100%. And I think Dragon has some sort of ties with VEGAPUNK. I think we know this now at this point. I think VEGAPUNK and Dragon and Kuma are all connected. I think they're all part of I think they're all working together, I think. Because I think they're good friends as well, because we don't know anything about Dragon's past. We don't know much about Kuma's. I mean, we know Kuma's a king of a country, but I mean, to be honest, we're not really sure much on how Kuma became a revolutionary, how he met Dragon. Was he the first member that Dragon recruited? Because we don't know when. I forgot, there was actually a time frame that Oda gave when the revolutionaries were formed. But this is interesting because honestly, the fact that Bonnie's been to this island before in the New World means that Kuma's been to this island before. Like, when I say before, I mean even like when they were like 30, 40, because Kuma's very old. He's like 47 if I'm not mistaken. And Bonnie, I don't know how old Bonnie is, but Bonnie could probably be in her maybe 20. I mean, must be in her 20s. I think she has to be in her 20s. I think 100%. So roughly over 20 years ago, at least, Bonnie's been to this island before. And Dragon, again, I think this is all gonna come full circle. And also the fact that Bonnie knows what's happened to Sabo. She knows stuff about Sabo that she's not gonna reveal yet, because Oda, of course, being the guy he is, can't be bothered to do that because he just wants to tease us more, which is just great. Which I don't understand why. He must just tell. Why can't you just tell? At this point, right, we're in the end game of One Piece, just tell us. Actually, that could be my minor gripe about this chapter. Like, again, why are we hiding this information? Just tell us what happened. Like, what's the point of hiding it even more? So yeah, Bonnie, I think, yeah, we'll see what happens with Bonnie, but right now, finding out that she's the daughter of Kuma, and she's come to this island for Vegapunk because she wants an explanation. I'm sure Vegapunk is gonna give her like a reason, saying like, oh, your dad wanted this, and there's not, and I'm here to respect his wishes as his friend. So that, again, I think that's because we don't know much about Vegapunk, but he doesn't seem like an evil guy, and we're gonna get to Vegapunk now because, oh my god, 6 paths of pain confirmed. Okay, so I was saying this before. It just did not make sense for me that that girl from the previous chapter was actually Vegapunk, because Vegapunk has always been a male, but now we know more. So we've just found out there are 6 Vegapunks with different personalities from what we know. So we have, I've got the list right here. So we've got Punko 1, Logic, and his name is Shaka. We've got Punko 2, who Shaka we don't see him we kind of see a little bit of him in this chapter, but we hear him talking. And then we have Punko 2, Evil, which is Lilith, which is the lady from the last chapter. And we have Punko 3, Flair, Edison, and we have Punko 4, Wisdom, Pythagoras, and Punko 5, Wrath, Atlas, who we also see in this chapter, and Punko 6, Desire, Yoke. So these are the 6 Vegapunks, and then we also have, I think there's the main body of the Vegapunk as well, so he's somewhere. Again, this is so similar to Pain, it is insane. I mean, Oda really is doing Naruto comparisons here now. This is really making me think Imu is going to be like Kaguya now. I mean, before we were saying this before, but I feel like now the fact that Oda's doing this is so exactly the same as the 6 paths of Pain. Like, there's a main Vegapunk body and there's 6 bodies to represent that, if you know what I mean. But so in this chapter we see 3 of them, obviously. We know about Lilith. We get more into Lilith actually. So she's obviously, and again, they wouldn't have different personalities, and she's like the greedy evil type, which is what her thing represents. And also all these 6 bodies of Vegapunk are based on like gods and people of the past and stuff, like Pythagoras, for example. If you don't know maths, because I've done maths before, triangles and stuff. And Lilith is like meant to represent the moon or something. So they all represent something in their own right. But the one thing I will say is that I liked Shaka, even though we heard his dialogue in this chapter, and he represents logic, obviously, so he's quite intelligent. So he obviously knows that Zoro and Robin were about to kill all the Sea Kings, because obviously Sea Kings are nothing really. But Lilith obviously is getting a bit overconfident, and you know, so it shows a difference in their personalities. But at the end of the day, they're all scientists, and this is why Vegapunk is the genius he is today, because he has these 6 bodies doing the work for him, as well as his own intelligence. So he has like 7 times the intelligence of an average human, and he can work 7 times as faster. So yeah, I mean, Vegapunk really is an absolute OG right now. But yeah, no, I think Vegapunk right now, I mean, we're gonna learn so much about Devil Fruits and Vegapunk, and also these 6 Vegapunks. I don't know if I feel like it's the exact same thing with Pain. These 6 things will stop functioning unless the main body of Vegapunk is actually dead. Like, I think it's so similar to that. It's exactly the same as Pain, honestly. But yeah, right now Vegapunk is definitely looking. I mean, we were making theories about this before because we saw on the lady's jacket she was Punk 02, so we weren't 100% sure, but now it's confirmed, so that's good to know. But yeah, no, I think in terms of Vegapunk right now, I think we're gonna learn more about his past with Dragon, because I think that's important. Because even though I don't think Luffy's gonna care, but at this point I don't care what Luffy cares. I only care about what I want to see. I want to know more about Vegapunk and his relationship with Dragon and Kuma, and the fact that also in this chapter, Shaka, the Punko 1 Vegapunk, he says that he has a personal interest in the Straw Hat crew. So this could tie into what the order, like, because when Kuma was given the order to protect the Sunny, obviously this goes back to that, I think, as well. So I think from Shaka we're gonna learn so much about the history of Vegapunk with Dragon. I think there is definitely a history between him and Dragon, 100%, and Kuma, obviously, because I think Kuma and Dragon and Vegapunk were all good friends, and I think they all formed the Revolutionary Army together, because I think Kuma was the original member who joined with Dragon. And I think Kuma was Dragon's right-hand man. That's why Dragon trusted Kuma to go undercover to become a warlord and become a pirate and all that stuff. So yeah, it's all part of an elaborate plan, I think, which I think if that's the case, that would make Dragon 10 times better than he already is, because Dragon right now needs some IQ points. So I think, yeah, this is perfect. But yeah, I want to get to also some little small snippets in this chapter. There was definitely teasing of Kizaru. Oda is definitely teasing Kizaru is coming to this arc, 100%. Because one of the ladies, one of the 6 Vegapunks, I think it was Raph or Atlas, I think the name is Atlas, yeah. So Atlas has some gloves which are like, they can actually punch through holograms, and means she can actually have direct contact with light. That is a direct tease to Kizaru. So I can see Frankie getting this, maybe. Because we've been saying about the Straw Hats, are they going to get Haki or not? Maybe Frankie doesn't even need Haki if he has these kind of gloves, because that means he could punch Kizaru without even using Haki. But that is definitely a tease of Kizaru. And we know that there's also a connection between Kizaru and Vegapunk because of the whole pacifista thing, about how Vegapunk incorporated Kizaru's Delver into the pacifista. But that is super important. And one other thing, I think, so that's mostly the chapter, and obviously there was some playful scenes of Luffy doing some stuff, and also one other thing as well, actually, Zoro says he has some personal interest in Vegapunk as well. So I do wonder if we're gonna learn more about, maybe there's more to Zoro's backstory that we don't know about yet. But I would say definitely that the fact that Zoro just mentioned in this chapter that he has an interest in Vegapunk as well means that maybe he has a connection that we don't know about as well. So we've got to keep that in mind as well. And then finally, the ending of the chapter, CP0, we see Lucci, Kaku, and Stussy, and it's confirmed they're the masked assassins. So I guess this confirms that Lucci, Stussy, and Kaku are actually the stronger members of CP0, I guess. Even though I don't understand that, because they don't wear masks. Because the guys we saw in Wano, they wear masks. So I'm really confused at this point. But anyway, the point is that these guys are going to the Egghead Island to kill Vegapunk. And this apparently has ties to the Lulusia incident, which we know with Emu and everything. I do wonder does that mean that Lucci and Kaku and Stussy know about Emu? Because we don't know who knows about Emu, aside from the Gorosei and this one other person that we saw telling Emu that the Gorosei were here. But again, this is interesting because they're bringing up the Lulusia Kingdom, obviously. I don't know what that will have to do with Vegapunk, though. That's interesting. Again, once we learn about Vegapunk, this is all going to come to full circle. This is all going to come full circle. But the biggest thing in the chapter, at the end of the chapter, is we see Kuma. At first, I thought that was actually Kuma, but I was like, wait, hold on, Kuma's with Dragon right now. How is that working? But then I saw the wings. I was like, oh, this is a Seraphim Kuma. So I think this definitely confirms that all the warlords are gonna have Lunarian. Well, they're not actually the warlords, but like these Seraphims are all warlords, I think, confirmed, because we have Kuma, we've got Boa, and Mihawk now. So I'm assuming these are the original warlords, maybe. So we might get one for Crocodile, for Jinbei, for Moria, and I think there was one other person I'm forgetting. I can't remember the other person, but maybe even Weevil might have one. I don't know. But all these guys are getting Seraphim upgrades, so We don't know what this guy can do, but they've come to Egghead as well. So we might see another Lucci and Luffy interaction, I think. Obviously, right now, Luffy is in a completely different league to Lucci. But again, seeing Lucci again meet Luffy, I think is going to be really interesting. But yeah, I think that's mostly the chapter. I don't think I've missed anything out. I think this is a really good chapter, I think, for Vegapunk. Again, I think this is clearly exact same thing as Pain from Naruto. I think everyone's pointed that out at this point. The AOKIJI thing is so interesting. And obviously Seraphim Kuma at the end. And also Bonnie as well, finding out that Bonnie is Kuma's daughter. So that, again, we're going to learn more about Bonnie as well. And obviously that Bonnie knows about Savos and she's not telling us. Which to me, that's the negative of this chapter, I would say. Because at this point, you might as well reveal it. So anyway. Yeah, anyway, that's the chapter. Yeah, so like, comment, subscribe. Peace out. Have a good day.